and welcome. I hope that you are all doing well. Thank you so much for joining me here today, where we are going to talk about our second book for July. That book is Buffalo Flats by Martine Leavitt, and it is a young adult historical fiction. This story begins with 17-year-old Rebecca sitting on a rock outcrop overlooking Buffalo Flats and seeing God join her on this overlook. They exchange words, and afterwards Rebecca chides herself for not having asked the big questions. After her experience with God, Rebecca decides that she would like to own the land that rock outcrop is on. Rebecca is determined, and I love that about her. She and her mother visit the land office to see if it is possible for Rebecca to get a homestead on that land. As it was in 1890 in Canada, women cannot homestead land unless she is the head of the household, meaning that she is a widow with children. Obviously, that's not the case for Rebecca. However, they do learn that if Rebecca's father were to purchase the land outright, Rebecca's name could be added to the deed. So Rebecca and her parents agree that if Rebecca can earn the $480 needed to purchase the land, they'll purchase it and put her name on the deed. Buffalo Flats relates the challenges faced by those who farmed and lived as pioneers in the Northwest Territories. From the daily challenges of life, to blizzards, to a grizzly bear encounter, to floods, and the exasperation of life with their neighbors in the community. Throughout the story, Rebecca learns about life, friendship, and what it is to love. It's based partly on the real history of the author's family. Buffalo Flats looks back in time and examines the challenges faced not only by pioneers, but by the women who were considered property instead of people. What are other books to get a sense of what life was like in the past? The first is Poetry as Secrets by Cambria Gordon, and it is YA, young adult, historical fiction, and it takes place in Spain in 1481. The Alguacil, which is the equivalent of a mayor in our time, has asked to marry Isabel Perez. Her family is thrilled. It would be a great honor for Isabel and her family. They have converted from Judaism to Catholicism, and they're still viewed by others with suspicion. Isabel herself, however, is not that crazy about the idea. She does not want to marry an old man who she honestly has no feelings for. She wants the freedom to choose her own destiny. But a marriage to the Alguacil would protect the family. What they have not counted on, first of all, is the Alguacil's zeal and Isabel's preference for another interfering in the plan. Next, we have the Ballad of Amy Miles by Kristy and it is a young adult fantasy set in a future dystopian America. Amy grew up on her family's compound. Her grandfather is the leader of that compound, and his grandfather started it. Amy's uncles and aunts all live here too. What about her mother? According to her grandparents, after Amy was born, her mother ran away to escape a horrible future. At this point in time, many women are unable to have children. If her mother had stayed, she would have been taken to live in a center where it would be her job to have babies for couples who cannot. One day, an older man shows up at the compound, and Amy is shocked to realize that her grandfather has invited him as a future potential mate for Amy. But Amy's uncles and aunts have been planning for this day. They tell her that her mother did not run away for the reason that Amy has heard. Her mother escaped from Amy's grandparents and lives not far from where they are. Amy is off on a 5-day journey to reconnect with her mother. Along the way, Amy learns that she has more resiliency and cunning than she ever gave herself credit for. This resiliency will come in handy in her new life, especially as she learns that her grandparents have not been honest with her about life outside the compound. And Amy must adjust to a life that she never imagined. And there we are. I hope that you enjoyed this look at Buffalo Flats by Martine Leavitt. And I have to say that this is not a book that I normally would have picked up and read on my own, but I really enjoyed it. It was slow going at first as I adjusted to the world that Rebecca lives in, but in the end, it was a truly great read. Later this week, I'll see you again with an Explore and Create video, and of course I will be back next week when we will talk about the next book for July. And it's looking like we might have to flip-flop books 3 and 4. So originally I had planned for Painted Devils to be my 3rd book this month, but I have about 150 more pages left. I have finished Finlay Donovan Jumps the Gun, which is my adult fiction book for this month. So I believe next week's video will be for Finlay Donovan Jumps the Gun, and then the 4th week we'll talk about Painted Devils by Margaret Owen. I hope that you will join me then, and until then, I hope that you enjoy all that you do and all that you read, and thank you.